Good afternoon, Jordan. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Hey mate, yep.
All
What
right,
about
perfect.
yourself? Can you hear myself and Chris?
Yes, I can definitely hear you and Chris, and I'll just fix my camera too. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good mate.
Good, thanks
Yourself?
for recording.
Did we briefly meet during Brisbane Adapter Day? Sorry, the workshop, 3-day one recently?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just briefly.
All right, perfect. Well, how can I be of service today? How can I help you guys with?
So we're hoping to chat around our website, get some support around that, and yeah, see how you could help us with bettering that. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Sure,
So at the
why do
moment,
you need help with the website though? It's like, what's the
so
main
it's
objective?
a single scrolling page at the moment, WordPress, and we want
Mhm.
to be able to change it now because since it was done 12 months ago, a lot of our services have changed.
Hmm.
We want to be able to make it into multiple different tabs so that it's a bit more easily navigatable by people accessing our website, but then also bringing it down to so people can find it. So that's around the SEOs and things like that as well, because at the moment, even we struggle to find it.
100%.
So,
100%. And even you guys struggle to find it?
well, I don't, but I know Jordan does. Like I'm living there all the time, but I know if we look off our phone, it doesn't come up.
If you type it in Google search, it does not come up.
It
So
did
we've
though.
had I've had a few people have those
Mhm.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Well, I mean, the name is really nice, so I'm sure there are other people who try to copy that off or something. But besides that, so like, what's the main objective of the website? Is it mainly used for conversion? Do you just want it to be for branding? Do you want it to grow the business? Like, what's the main objective here?
So we want to really just really start promoting some of our fee for service through like we have our NDIS space, our child protection space, as well as mental health,
Do you
our
guys do
resilience
the
work.
NDIS and child protection non-for-profit, or do you actually charge for it?
We do charge for it, but it goes under the NFP banner, yeah, which is
All
what
right,
our
makes
organization.
perfect sense. Um, and the main objective is to get more people for those services signing up, if I'm
Yeah,
making
Yeah.
because
like a good assumption.
Yeah.
most of the businesses they go directly straight to our website. So we want to have our referral form embedded into each one of those essential sites. So if you go up to your tabs, you click on child protection, you'll find your referral form for child protection, plus a bit of a bit of information about what we can provide in those set services.
And then also linking with our charitable side of things too. So yeah, we just want it to be quite easy, quite
Yeah.
accessible. Yeah, so we can honestly generate those leads, bring business in as well.
Yeah, so page one would be about us as a charity and the community services we provide in the community. Like page two would be, whatever. So NDIS, page three, child safety. Four would be mental health and within that corporate space. And then five would
100%.
probably be like linked to the e-commerce store.
100%. Did you guys get a chance to have a chat with Abhay on day 3 in the workshop?
No, we had to
Yeah,
bail.
we had to fly out, hence why I did reach out to you guys
No worries.
after we left, just so we could catch
Hmm.
up.
All right. I'll make 2 suggestions. Obviously, with websites, I'll give you guys some overview and everything else based on my understanding right now. But then later on, perhaps having a discussion with him would be the better choice because he is, well, more experienced than me in that regards. But like, my main success is more from the business side of things. So I can give you suggestions and feedback on how we could use the website better and how to use it more for conversions or if even that is the goal. So for NDIS, what is the average worth of a client to you guys? How many clients do you have right now?
At the moment, we have about um, 15
15?
clients.
That is pretty impressive. And how long have these clients been staying with you guys? When did you start providing these services? Like,
We've only really
stickability
started
is very high,
increasing.
isn't it?
Sorry,
The
what was that last
stickability is
sentence?
high. I mean, they stay for a long time.
Yeah, so we've had our stable clients probably now for about 3 months.
We're quite new to industry.
We haven't really advertised.
We
This is
haven't,
just word of mouth. We're at the
Hmm.
moment we're onboarding all the new staff to to match that and to be able to handle more clients.
and we've got another 5 or 6 clients that are going to be on board soon. So we're building, but like we said, if we actually advertised and obviously marketed properly, it would go gangbusters, and that's obviously the plan.
Mhm.
And then we can be a bit more mindful about what participants we actually take on, so the ones which I understand it's terrible, but earn a little or have more providable continuancy of hours and things like that, so we can provide that for our staff.
No, 100%. Again, you guys won't magically get money from nowhere, right? You need to to be able to fund the charity and to be able to scale and do work on the cause that you guys have. You also, in parallel, need a steady source that can generate revenue to be able to support those causes. And
Yep.
NDIS is a great place to do that because you're killing both birds with one stone. So they need help naturally. But besides that, the industry itself is like filled with people who genuinely don't want to help. But just like the way we are discussing things right now, like there might be like students or people who are mainly there because it's more profitable and it's in their interest to keep the person dependent on them, or just generally they don't have the right approach mindset or the
Mm.
overall compassion or the values that you guys have because you were doing it for free before that anyways, right? So I think like the issue happens with the NDI space is a lot of people or parents of the participants have these concerns because they want their like they think of them as people and they want them to enjoy life just like any ordinary human being would, right? Have the same experiences, have fun, make friends,
Yep.
be in that environment that allows them to experience all of those aspects that they normally won't get access to. Whereas most service providers would just come in and they think it's what they're supposed to do is something that's like bare minimum, just
Yeah.
um, like take them to the toilet or get them to wake up,
Yeah.
dress them up, drive them
Exactly.
around. Like there's a lot more to that
Yeah.
than providing a service to someone. And generally, even like we've had the honor of having worked with both extremely shitty NDIS people as well as the good ones. So I can at least see the contrast in there, where like the good ones, they genuinely wanted to impact. And the way they started working with their participants, the lives changed, the way they did things changed. So it was like there was
Yep.
one guy who would take his participant to the gym, right? And then he would encourage him to hit on girls at the gym. And he actually started doing that, right? And he was like, I was giving him that safe environment because he was with me, that he was willing to do those things that normally boys want to do, which at his home he got no
Yeah.
chance of doing, or other
Yeah.
people didn't get a chance of doing, or like doing anything like that. And he was working with a service provider before that for like 1 or 2 years. And he literally felt like just somebody who was different and like it's like they have those biggest insecurities themselves where they feel like they're
Mm.
being pitied or they feel like they don't have the same flexibility or the freedom to do things, right? So he would
Yep.
play video games with him when they're waking up. He would then get him to do all of these different things, and then over time, like he had a much stronger relationship with the provider as well as was able to, like recover and start integrating back into the normal life and start
Yep.
developing that initiative and that personality character traits within himself that allowed him to have that level of maturity in decision making in every areas where beforehand he was just feeling like he's just somebody who's not as adequate or something like that, right? There was another guy who introduced his participant to TikTok. So that was interesting thing to see. So like scrolling reels the whole day. But so he was like, most people don't have that sort of vision or initiative because
Yep.
like again, there's a lot more to providing services into the disability sector than just doing the bare minimum. But the thing is, parents want that. And parents want to understand that the person they're delegating or the guardians of the participants, they want to know that the person they're working with, who's taking care of their loved one, is able to be their friend or be a person in their life who is empowering them, who is being a pillar of support, who is being somebody they could rely on, depend on, and who could help them be their best version. And
Yep.
I feel like so that's an area where the gap quite often gets created, where most service providers don't do that. The ones who do that, and they're the ones that parents want to work with. And if we can get them to realize that we are different, and you guys have the biggest evidence of that, the fact that you're doing it without the money. So you're not in it for that. I mean, you're doing it now for the money, but you have done it previously.
Yeah.
and you support all these other causes which are independent of the finances that are generated from it. And because you have
Yeah.
experience in the mental health space and all of these other spaces, you are able to empower people and help them be better versions of themselves, right? So it's like if that messaging is conveyed properly, it gets 10 times more results and 10 times better loyalty and engagement and following than just traditional NDIS based providing. Because, like, you're not just supposed to advertise your services. People don't buy because you're advertising a referral program or because you're offering them support services, because there are like 100 other people doing the same thing. The reason they would sign up for you is because the actual reason or the actual insecurities that they have or the actual problems they have, which is getting them to do this in the first place. And in their heads, they have set such a low standard for what they think is possible because everybody in the market doesn't like just does the bare minimum and acts like it's something extremely special. That if you're able
Yeah.
to come in and show them that something better can be done, it enables like everybody would go for you, right? Everybody would want
Well,
to be a part of your story. And then I
well, I
think,
think that's sorry. I think that's where we're different is because we're the only guys in our whole region who are male focused and having the
yeah,
charity attached to what we do. I guess in this region we have a brand
Yeah, a
already.
bit of a
mhm,
brand,
People
yeah.
always already want to be part of what we do. It's just
mhm.
now being able to like scale it to make it and turn it into more income, I guess, and more
Because
clients.
everyone
So
knows us for the charitable purpose and our charitable arm and our free community events. What we really want to do now is start marketing that we do provide those fee for services. And like we do get a lot of gentlemen coming along to our events. Well, a lot of them probably do have packages in some way. So, we
mhm,
can then carry on with providing that level of care, that breaking down
mhm.
social isolation. So yeah, that's where you just
Exactly.
really want to start
I feel
marketing.
like if the dots are connected properly, where the message is conveyed properly, that it's like it's like being a charity is not something to that makes you weak, it makes you stronger on the other hand, right? Because you're the one who's actually putting himself out there and trying to make a difference and doing the
Yeah.
uncomfortable things that most people don't do. And I'd say the other thing is, so with this, how do you convey this? So like earlier, so all of this messaging, everything we are trying to do. I think the easier thing to do, two things will be the factor that would drive growth to the business. Website, you are guys are probably on the right track, but at the same time, I feel like in a priority order, the first thing would be getting more exposure. More so
Yeah,
because
that's
more people
the
that know
goal.
you, the more they would then convert. Because it doesn't matter how good the website is if you don't get anybody to come to the website, right? It doesn't matter how good the SEO is if nobody's searching Walk and Talk Collective. And if they search NDIS, you get all of these other people showing up at the top because they're running AdWord based ads. And AdWord
Yeah.
ranks on top of SEO. So it's like you get that issue as well. So like when you start doing better, there might be somebody who would bid on your keyword and run an AdWord for Walk and Talk Collective. So they're the one that are shown at the top. But the thing is,
Yeah.
that alone isn't enough to compel somebody to make a decision. They might like people go to thousands or like if I actually searched online right now, NDIS support services, and I click the top one. You guys are not selling, I don't know, like some e-commerce product, right? Where I am an impulse buyer, where the first time I see it, I would click on it and make the decision that I'm going to buy this right there and then. It's actually more difficult than that. There are a lot more variables that somebody has to go through to decide that they're going to work with you or not. So they might go to the next NDIS service provider and then they might look at the next one. So they might shop around before deciding. The sales cycle and the process is longer. And I think the area where most mistakes are made is not at the front impression, it's in the nurturing process. So it's like retargeting ads. So where like the more important thing on the website isn't uh, the design, it's the retargeting, where you might have all the 5 pages that you mentioned on the website, but somebody might not go through them. Or they might see it and they go home and they forget all about it because like they're having a fight with their brother or whatever. So what you want to do is you install pixel codes, Google Tag Managers, all of that stuff. And then you individually retarget them with limiting belief breaking, like the same messaging, the same story, testimonials, what we stand for, the things we did for others, and how that changed everything. Like, for example, if the story I shared earlier about the guy going and hitting on girls, like if a participant's parent sees that, they would be like, I want him to have that level of confidence and freedom to be able to do something like that, right? Or it
Yeah.
just completely differentiates you from all the other people who are running ads saying we are the best NDIS service provider. Do a free meet and greet, do a free discovery call, or whatever. And then the thing is, in the nurturing phase, because a funnel from a conversion perspective is taking a stranger to making them a buyer and getting them to stay as longer and getting them to send, right? So funnel is like somebody
Yeah.
has no idea who we are. Obviously, they are target audience. So those would be the decision makers, which would be the parents or the guardians of the participants. And so first thing is we hook them in through something. It could either be an offer, it could be an awareness-based ad, it could be content, it could be affiliation, whatever the thing is. Like you guys might get more exposure if you got somebody who's big in the NDIS and mental health space to talk about you, as opposed to you would from perhaps like in terms of the monetization of a website, you'd make more money through other pieces that gives you more leverage. So it's like
Yeah.
order, right? So it's like you do the actions that have the most chances of success because you're always supposed to do 1,000 different things. So what are the things that do get us most results? But anyways, so it's like the retargeting across Instagram, Facebook, where you can talk about the referral program. You can talk about all of these different things. Should increase the where you can nurture them, tell them why, if their current provider is not going through this whole checklist, it's costing you the future of your loved one or something along those lines, or conveying that message across. Why you should go for somebody who's not just doing the bare minimum, but genuinely trying to empower. And how, like, over time, that makes a huge difference. Where 2, 3 years down the line, on one side, your loved one could be completely different, as where on the other side, they're still in the same position they are today, maybe slightly better. And that's how most people or most participants stay stuck for their whole lives or for years and years until they do find somebody who finally decides to empower them because they're not going to empower them on their own, right? It's like it
Yeah.
doesn't magically happen. Most don't have that strength or that capacity or somebody in their life who helps them do that. And most people in the industry are not qualified. They're like
Mhm.
international students who are doing this because it pays really well. Or they're like,
Yeah.
it's like the thing from Africa, right? Like most people that come from there, they're like, you come to Australia, you go into the NDIS space, you get like a blue card, you get a certificate that is for free, and then you can start making money from it. But the thing is,
Yeah.
that's not supposed to be the point. And the government did push this through really strongly. Even like a couple of years ago when there was um like they when the visa restrictions or all of these things were in place, unlimited working hours were offered for those who were in the NDIS space for the temporary visa holders, or as well as they were given higher minimum wages, or all of these other things were provided that just compelled people to take this as an occupation and not genuinely want to do it. So like not so I
Mm.
think like 90% of the people are in it for the money as opposed to somebody who actually wanted to help, right? Or
Mhm.
even if they did originally want to help, the money sort of made the lines blurry down the line at some point, where it just became something for survival. But the thing is, you do make more money when you do it the right way because it's more sustainable and more people come to you because of that. And it's like you start compromising and there's that rabbit hole. But anyways, I feel like one of the aspects or one of the marketing campaigns that does work really well for this space is a free one-on-one experiential guided session. So that's something like free video game session or free board game session with counseling for parents as a bonus or free something like that. Instead of advertising discovery calls or meet and greets, with most people offer, and like if you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, you don't get attention, you don't differentiate yourself. So if I literally ran an ad that like, are you feeling like your kid, or sorry, your like participants, since you guys mentioned earlier you specialize in males, right? So males like playing video games or doing these things with the boys that they don't usually get to hang out with the boys because they're stuck at home. So it'd be like, do you feel like they're not getting the same level of exposure or experiences or things that they normally would want to enjoy, right? And you feel like their current NDIS journey is not empowering them or doing all of these things. So we are hosting a free guided gaming session where we would pick their favorite games and there would be an experienced provider who's with them, playing with them, learning more about them, understanding them, and also then doing a free counseling session with you where we tell you how you can better support them, better take care of your loved one, and how you can manage your own stress so things are easier for you, whatever. Like we can make a copy around those lines. And you advertise an ad like that, uh, you'd get tons of people signing up right off the door.
Yeah.
The other thing is you would also um, be able to convert them more easily because they're doing something with you. You have showed them what it feels like to work with you. It's like it's not just me advertising and telling them that I'm really good and this is what we should do, this is what we shouldn't do. I actually demonstrated it. And the thing is, so like, and because the lifetime value is so high, so this is the business side of things. Like one person would stay with you for a long time, and they would stay longer
Yeah.
anyways if you close them through this process, because it sets a precedent that you're not doing it for a service, you're doing it for a moral authority cause. So the stickability is higher. But even besides that, what would end up happening is um, even if out of four, so like normally if you guys charge 60, 70, or $100 per hour for the NDIS service providing, so it's like if out of four people or five people, one ends up signing up and the other signs up like 2, 3 weeks later, so you convert two out of five people. So you have like 30 to 40% closing rate. And then that person would cover the whole cost of the 5 sessions on day one. So it's
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
and then you could do as much of it as you want. So business-wise, this is almost like, it's like the reason people don't market or aren't able to advertise or invest back into the business is because their lifetime value is messed up. But in NDIS, the lifetime
Mm.
value is naturally really long because the person is actually dependent on you. So it's like you don't have to create the need. They naturally would stick with you, which allows you. So even if you spend like $2,000 to acquire a client, you would recover the cost in a week. And most businesses aren't profitable for years, for like 1 or 2 years. And you're here with a model that allows you to become profitable on day two, day three, and make the money back, and then reinvest that back into growing the business or doing all these crazy things. Um,
Yeah.
that's like the area that generally allows people to scale and grow, and then also do all of these other things like building better websites or hiring David Goggins to talk about you, or like you could do all of those things if you have a model that allows you to do it. And in the NDIS space, it's like the reason why all of these or like many people are successful is not because they're good, it's because the system is such that you can be horrible and you would still make money. But that's
Yeah.
also
Lead
the
We see
gen.
that.
reason, yeah, but that's also the reason why most of them stay stuck, where they're not actually good or they don't understand what's actually going on in the business model, so they can't take full advantage of it. And this also means the person who can figure out a way to actually take full advantage of it, can scale this to the moon really fast, really quick, and and you guys are impacting other people's lives through this process, so it allows you to do that. Well, it also allows you to keep on doing what you're doing right now. So it's just mainly like, it's like if I had to do something first, I would probably run a marketing campaign along this experiential lines because that allows me to bring money through the door that then I can use to hire more staff that are more talented. Like you could take 100, 200, 300 interviews and you could say in the headline, if you're in it for the money, then this is not the right job for you, even though you would get paid higher. But we are doing this because we're on a mission to change the way NDS industry works, or whatever the case is. Because most people here, we share the similar narrative. So it would naturally attract people who are more empathetic, who share your vision and cause. And then the team is really high quality because, again, you're able to attract talent. So, like in NDIS, what is talent? It's their ability to do the same thing I mentioned earlier, right? To be able to support somebody, to be able to actually want to make a difference. And how do you get those people? Or what would it take for a person like that to want to work with you? Probably because their current workplace doesn't understand any of this. And they don't feel like they're part of something big. So if you're able to give them that, you also attract more talent because the value of your brand aligns with the values of the person. And then that allows you to then again service better, which then gets the clients to stay with you longer because the people providing them the value is better. And then so it's like over the long run, the way the business model works is a lot more it's like I'll simplify this uh, before we end our call. So you guys have like clarity on what you could look this through a lens of. So like a simple business scaling framework, right? Or just generation framework. So can you guys see my screen? I'm gonna do this on Microsoft Word because I don't want to open the whiteboard because whiteboard is annoying. So here we are going to, um, Word is really slow for some reason. Let's just do it over here. All right. So first step, so there are like five key functions of a business, right? You could apply this to anything, to any business, to any model. First one is lead generation. So this is the offers, the one I mentioned just right now. This is getting a person through the door. This is all of those things where, like, how do we grab attention at the first place? Webinars, one-on-ones, ads, affiliates play a role here, like I mentioned earlier. There are people who might already be providing services to NDIS-based people, and you can do strategic partnerships with them, like speech pathologists or whoever. And you tell them that for every person you refer us, you just need to refer and we would send you like if they end up working with us, we'll send you guys $1,000 in return. Irresistible offer. And if a speech pathologist has a list of um like 1,000 participants or whatever that they have worked with, and he sends all of them, or next time they come to the business, they're like, if you're looking for somebody who's actually better, he sends them to you. And because he's actually gonna put an effort, because instead of the 170 he makes off the one-off session, he's making a lot
Yeah.
more. So then they would be working to send business to your business, right? And like that allows you, but you have to make an irresistible offer for them as well. Money is one thing, other is you could bring them business, but generally, like because the model is so good, you could pay them $1,000 because again, if you got a client that signs up for 1 week with you, it's like they covered their own cost. Um, and then if you
Yeah.
can't keep them, then it's your fault. So it's like if a
Yeah.
person leaves the business 1 week later, then you're like, it's not worth it. But then that's not because the issue is with the pathologist. It's because the issue is because you probably didn't provide a good enough service. But if you're confident that you're providing such a great service that the participant would stay for weeks and weeks and months and years, then you can spend $1,000 upfront for that, right? And then tomorrow you might get like you could reach out to 100 of the people who fit this criteria, and they would just send you business upon business. So lead generation, lead nurture is the second one. So this is pre-framing them, ensuring that they show up. This is the area, this is the gap before them finding you out and then actually coming to the conversion process, which is the sales, which is the next one. But let's break down the lead nurture. So lead nurture is between generation and sales. So this is like show up rates are an issue. Most people would say they're coming to the one-on-one session, but that they don't show up. Even though this shouldn't be an issue for you guys because the offer is so irresistible. Even if the nurturing isn't good or the sales isn't good, simply the offer should get them to convert because the numbers are so high. But regardless, lead nurture would be email automations, tech automations, retargeting them that you need to show up, or just calling them and booking the appointment and doing it the right way. So, for example, in the lead generation process, I could ask them qualifying questions with the offer. What is the biggest struggle you're having right now? Or what is the biggest improvement you want to see in the life of your loved one or the participant? And where do you think the current provider might not be doing the right job, or whatever the case it ends up being, right? I ask them a few questions that gives me enough data that I can send them a personalized call or email to book them in for a session. And then during that, because the commitment level is high, then I can send them an image. Hey, with a tag of their name that I just did on whatever. They'll be like, hey, so we already have prepared a goodie session for you guys to come in on Friday. So it's like if you can double your show up rates, automatically sales would double. So like this is like really easy and seems boring, but has a major impact on this third process, which is sales. Obviously, if you're good at selling them, in person through this process, you would convert them into buyers. Third one is fulfillment. which is obviously the thing that I mentioned earlier, which is like most businesses are not making money because the fulfillment is horrible. So it's like the business actually is not good. Real talk, where like if you were good, you would have a line of people outside waiting for you to provide services. But the reason, like everybody would be telling their friends, but so like there would be such high word of mouth that you wouldn't even need to advertise. So it's like you advertise once and then word of mouth keeps you going. But most people actually don't have such a good service. So this is the area where you actually end up improving because most businesses forget the fulfillment and just focus so much on the lead generation, the sales, and the lead nurture that they feel like this is how the business is working, but the business actually happens over here. And this is where I mentioned the talent you attract, the team you have, the way you set the values, this way you deal, like the way you empower them, the way you do all of those things that I mentioned earlier is what falls in this category, right? And then obviously there's retention and ascension, which also luckily you don't have that much of an issue. Or I don't know if you have an ascension process or not. Maybe you can build one where what's the next thing besides the retaining that you could do for them? And if you could figure something out that works here, it will allow you to make more per client, which again allows you to spend more money over here. But the area is most people worry so much about lead generation. But the thing is, leads are gonna come through the door anyways, no matter what you do. It's like what you do after they're through the door, which is what makes the difference between how far you can scale the business and how much you can spend in all of these three different processes. So, like if one participant was worth 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 to you on average, you can spend $5,000 to acquire them, but you're not spending 5,000. You're spending 200 bucks. So it's like you have such a high margin of safety that even if you get one of these things right, it still crushes the business. And that's just because the model is set up in a way where it was supposed to be something that helps people out, but the government provides funding for it. So normally this wouldn't have worked, but it's that the current setting allows it to work really well. And because it allows it to work really well, you could scale it indefinitely. And I would say, so this would be the offer that I mentioned earlier. This would be you guys scheduling them, getting them to show up. This would be you selling them during the in-person session. This would be the fulfillment, the team, the talent, all of it. And this would obviously be maintaining the relationship and all of that stuff. And I think like you do this the right way, you should be able to grow it by 5 times, 10 times, whatever, within the next, uh, like depends on your speed. Any
Yep.
questions?
That was good.
That's really good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's just changing that lens on how to market.
Right,
Well, thank
perfect.
you.
So, one question. Did you guys actually consider websites only, or were you also wanted to use us for marketing?
We're kind of a bit on the fence when we.
Hmm.
We'd probably like to actually have a go ourselves
Hmm.
initially because we actually haven't really marketed
Go
a few
for it.
Facebook ads here and there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's probably mostly right now, I think the website, and then we'll
Mhm.
see how we go.
Where are you going to send people when they click on your offer? Are you going to send them to the website?
Well, yeah, they go into the landing page, and that's where they do their
But isn't that
then
what
they
the
ring
funnel
us.
is?
They go straight through our email or our phone call.
Can't you do that through lead forms and funnels? A funnel is a landing page, right? So that's where people go to convert them. So it's, I think the process you're trying to achieve is the same one, but you think it's going to happen through a website where it happens more.
I think the biggest thing for us around the website is a lot of private um, participants reach out and directly say through Facebook and through like marketing like that way. But a lot of our organizations they say we can't find your website. So that's where like they're just lazy. They don't want to email us for a referral. They want to get the referral from the website. And then yes, that's the only reason why we mentioned the website because so many people have brought it up now. So we're just like,
Hmm.
right,
Oh, makes
we need
perfect
to
sense.
restructure it and make it a bit more user friendly.
Want to revert
100%.
to.
What you guys can do in that case is probably book a call with Abhay. I'll send you his booking link, and he can give you guys a quote on the website and how it could look like and what he could do with it and all of those aspects, right? And potentially, if at some stage you want to work with us for the marketing side of things, you can reach out to me and I can hook you up with the right offer. All right. Any other
I think that'd
questions?
be good. Yeah, we do want to market our mental health talks and things like that as well.
I don't
So
100% go
that's
for it.
probably that's the biggest one through the charity. So we definitely would reach out around that, I think.
Let's do that.
We've got a,
Yeah.
the thing is, we do have a bit to market. Yeah,
But
like
it's
it's
not
not just the
marketing per se,
NDIS.
it's attention, right? It's like you guys need people to find you out, which is
Yeah.
where the business conversion happens. So it's like if the traffic issue can be fixed, by default things should grow more than where they are right now. And but I think like that's the first step. As I mentioned earlier, it's more like shaping the model the right way. So
Yep.
like the thing that I just mentioned beforehand, this has actually worked. So if you just execute it, it would do really well. Even otherwise, at least I recorded this call. So then I can send it next time to somebody who is struggling in the NDIS space. And I'm like, this is how you do the process. But
Yeah.
regardless, I'll also send this back to you guys so you can review it and hopefully provides more clarity so you could obviously support more people and create a bigger impact than what you want to do, regardless of if we work together or not. This is something that you genuinely should prioritize and consider because this is what would probably either cause issues down the line. And if done right, this is the area which is boring or doesn't seem that exciting, but is what could drive the business more than all the flashy things that like keep on showing up. Boring stuff. It's like if you call a lead 5 minutes within 5 minutes of them showing up, it increases your sales by 3%. It's boring, but it works. Now, most
Yeah.
people do that. They would instead like go to workshops or do all of these things or get a new CRM or try to market on TikTok or all of these things. Whereas like quite often the basics and the fundamentals is what ends up being the constraint of the business. And then you keep on avoiding the problem until you finally address it. And then when you finally address it, then you're like, ah, this was much easier. Um, but it's like execution is the thing, right? But regardless, besides that. So I'll send you Abhay's booking link. And do you guys have any other questions as well besides that?
As to your marketing side of things, what does that look like? What kind of duration do you usually do? Like, what does that cost? Like, just a
You
little bit
guys
more
were
info
there
around
on
that.
day two of the workshop?
Sorry.
Were you there on day two of the workshop?
Yeah, we were there the whole time. It's just
Yeah, so
obviously,
I
like
think
I
we
said,
control it from
yeah, we just didn't get to chat further. That's all. I just didn't
yeah.
know what.
We didn't put our name down, but we had to leave before we got to have our meeting.
So this is kind of where we're trying to have that conversation. Yeah, I guess you could say, yeah.
I would say it's mainly so everything I discussed earlier, we can just execute it and run it and build those campaigns and run those funnels and help you structure things the right way so that you get those results. And it's mainly, it's not the
Yeah,
marketing side of things, it's actually ensuring that. Uh, so it's like the reason why people fail at marketing quite often doesn't happen because of the marketing itself. It happens because the marketing strategy or the business structure wasn't set up the right way. So like
yeah,
quite often people would hire marketing agencies and they would run discovery call based ads that leads to an NDIS call. But it's like that can be done, that can scale and grow the business, but that's probably not the right choice, right? So it's like the area where we generally help you is find the right funnel that works or has proven to work because we've done it before and worked with a lot of businesses. So
yeah,
obviously the advice that I just gave you right now was not me making stuff up because I couldn't say this if I hadn't actually done it. And
yeah,
we just execute that then. So all the emails, all the ads, all the funnels across multiple platforms are pretty much taken
yeah.
care. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it looks like. Sounds really simple, but like it works.
Yeah,
The time being, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect. Any other questions, any last questions that you guys may have?
I think that was the last thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
Very happy with that. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll send you Abir's booking link as well as we can stay in touch and let me know how things go as time goes on. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Right, thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time.
See ya.
Thank you.
You have a good day.